Welcome back to another Planet Coaster episode. In this one, it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be a lot less busy and cluttered. It's really going to be focused on just building one ride. So here's a quick overview of the park. I wanted to do something with this sort of cliff formation I made. I don't think I ever showed me doing this whilst I was there. We go. There's the little title card there. So that spaghetti-like yellow thing in the background. It does look like a real ride. Don't worry. We're going to be building it here, although the default color was blue at the time. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, I don't think I ever showed me doing that cliff formation in any of these videos, but because some bits have been omitted just to keep these things not too long. So this is a flying coaster. Starts out with a really steep hill. At one point it goes beyond 90 degrees, just because I wanted to give the effect of sort of free falling head first from a very high height. I thought that'd be quite a cool thing to have. And then we go straight into that really big loopy piece. I don't really tend to use that feature a lot because it needs to be very, very tall. Here I've just skipped forward through some of the building here because this part I never actually kept because the carriage is going very fast and it ended up having very low excitement, very high intensity. But I needed to provide context for this bit here because we just removed that 0G roll in favor of doing a manual thing because I realized that the 0G roll is designed from going from one orientation and then finishing up in that orientation, whereas I wanted to just make it flip just from being face up to face down. So I needed a more half 0G roll, if that makes sense. So I built it again from scratch. A lot of this actually I ended up building things I then axed or changed later on, but I need to show me building those parts in order to provide context for other bits. Otherwise you might think, why is that other bit of track there? I didn't see that getting built. So if that makes sense, hope that makes sense. Yeah, I really liked the way this roller coaster turned out. So as I'm sure you can probably tell, this is following the same kind of scale as the Argus roller coaster in that it's very big. In this park, there are going to be 3 very, very big roller coasters, and then there's a few kind of smaller ones. So to look forward to, there's a wooden one we've built, a vertical drop one, and a corkscrew one. I can't remember what it is. Is it the American Eagle? It's the corkscrew roller coaster, basically. I think that's it for the roller coasters. I think there's a water ride as well. Keeping things deliberately vague. Yeah, I mean this layout's fair. It's a very long ride, and I didn't want to. I tried to wrap it up just around at this point because I didn't want to make it excessively long to the point where it's no longer realistic. I mean, I don't really know. Is the size of this roller coaster really still within the realms of realism? Can flying coasters do drops like that? I don't know. This is a pioneering park. I think we can all agree. Like I said, I never really try and make roller coasters excessively long or excessively big, but I like to try and keep them, towards the record-breaking end of the spectrum. So in my Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 videos, I actually did a little bit of research. I looked up what the longest roller coaster in the world was, which is Steel Dragon in Japan, and then what's the fastest roller coaster in the world, which at the time was King Dakar, but now it's Formula Rossa. But King Dakar is still the tallest roller coaster in the world, so I used that as a benchmark as well. So I like to base things in reality, but these days I just like to build rides that I think I would like to ride in real life. So, I mean, I don't actually share the G-forces of this thing. Maybe this thing would actually be lethal in reality. Who knows? Who knows? But for the purposes of a game, I think it's pretty nice. I like to make sure things are relatively smooth. I like trying to make sure that the car isn't going, stupidly fast or excessively fast towards the top of hills or loops and various track features. And any corners, especially high-speed ones, are very sort of they're not too sharp. So I try and keep this sort of thing in mind. I try not to make them too jarring or too unrealistically fast. But at the same time, I do like to try and make them I'd have to make them some cool. So there's a little zoomed out shot of the entire park in its current state, just to give you a sense of scale of not only this ride, but just of the Argus and, of course, all the other things we've built so far, so the lake and the buildings. Links to the playlist and things are going to be at the end of this video, in case you're wondering, and the full playlist is in the description as well. Yeah, not much more to talk about this really, other than just that original section of hit loops and things I got rid of because the excitement rating was very low. I thought it was just going to affect the overall score of the roller coaster. I mean, I don't really care about the actual score of the ride itself, but I think it influences whether or not your guests will want to ride it. And obviously I want guests to ride it, so I tweaked it a little bit. So yeah, and then we're just going to choose the colour. So I went with yellow. Like I said in my previous episodes, I tend to try and have one of each colour for roller coasters. I don't like to have more than one red one, more than one black one, more than one yellow one, etc., etc. So the 3 big roller coasters are going to be all the primary colours. So this is the yellow one. We've got the red one. Then we're going to have a blue one as well. But yeah, that's the colour of the ride. In fact, that's pretty much the track finished, to be honest. I'll show the POV at the end of this video once we've got all the scenery and station and everything set up. But that pretty much wraps up the actual construction of the track. If we can just, get the brake segment all lined up and connected to the end of the, the roller coaster section of the track. And there we go, make sure that's all smoothed out as well. I did go through and smooth out each part, manually, but I don't think that's particularly interesting to watch, so I didn't leave that part in. We can just sort out the colour of the car and just have a quick ride. I won't show this whole thing in its entirety because it's fast forwarded, but just give you a sense of the smoothness of it and the kind of relative speed for each segment. You can see it there. But we can just cut away now to the construction of the station. So I forgot to record me building these paths, but I think just looking at them, you can get the gist of what that might have looked like. And then it just comes to building. So again, like the station for the Argus, this is going to be a very prefab style of building. So, I won't rehash the lore again, but the 3 generations of this park are sort of old castle style, like a manor house. Then we've got the more 1930s era buildings, and then finally we have the modern prefabricated sort of minimalist design for the actual park, for the actual rides. They were built for the rides themselves, I think that's what I was trying to say there, but doing a horrendous job of articulating it. And I suppose that's it when talking about the actual construction of the ride itself. For the most of this video, it's going to be building the station, so there's not much more. There's not a lot for me to talk about other than just let the footage speak for itself. So I think in terms of this ride itself, I've been on 3 flying coasters, and I really enjoy them. I'm not quite sure if I prefer them to the conventional style of coaster. I mean, to me, sitting in I don't know. I think overall I prefer the ones where you're sitting in a chair above the track, kind of the traditional style ones. In terms of, I'm just trying to think of the roller coasters that I enjoy the most in, like, my favourite roller coasters. I think one of my favourites is Nemesis at Alton Towers, which I guess isn't a conventional style roller coaster. You're hanging below the track on that one. But also the other ones that stick out would be Kraken at SeaWorld in Orlando, and the Pepsi Max, or the big one, at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Really, really cool ride. And even actually the one at Six Flags Magic Mountain, oh gosh, what's it called? Goliath, which was heavily featured in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Well, I suppose in RCT 2. I never actually played the first one, so I don't know if there was a Six Flags deal in that one as well. But in RCT 2, they had all the Six Flags parks and a lot of the actual Six Flags rides as well as kind of the scenery that would go with them. So the giant Goliath sign that you walk through when you're actually joining the queue. But yeah, I think a lot of people, the problem with Six Flags Magic Mountain was just the queue length on X. I was queuing for X for like 3 hours because they only had one train running, and it seemed like the other one was working fine. And I don't know what, I mean, the cynic in me just kind of felt like they were just deliberately making the queue really long and not putting the second train on just to try and get people to buy the fast pass things, which worked. I caved and bought a fast pass because I'm like, I'm only here, I don't live in it, I'm never going to come back here. I may as well just splash out and just, buy the fast pass. But it was kind of annoying having to, wait. And just like before the gates opened, there was no queue system or anything. It was just a giant crowd and they weren't letting people in. Like, the way they were letting people in was very slow and inefficient. Like, if people had their tickets on their phones, it was like they had to go and verify it with some computer every time, and it was just, it was a nightmare. So I don't know how impressed I was with the overall Six Flags experience, but the rides themselves were obviously very good. Unfortunately, the problem with X, although it was an amazing ride, I just can never get past the insane queue. So I don't remember that much about the actual ride itself, but I did really like Goliath. I really liked Goliath, and I really liked the Green Lantern. Not the Green Lantern, the Riddler, the stand-up one. That was really good. And the only stand-up ride I'd ever been on prior to that was the one in Drayton Manor, Shockwave, which is all right, but it's nothing. It's very. You don't really remember. I don't remember much about it. But the Riddler at Six Flags Magic Mountain was really, really good. So I really enjoyed that one. Anyway, I don't know how much of this is this. Do people like this sort of thing with me just talking about my experiences in real theme parks, or would you rather I just talk about something else, like in my most recent SSTO video that isn't actually out yet? So maybe I shouldn't maybe I shouldn't be talking about this right now. In fact, is this out yet? I don't actually know. The way this is difficult for me to try and work out because I'm as you are listening to this, if you're listening to this on the day it's uploaded or within the next few days, I'm actually away at the moment. So this past week is in when I'm recording this commentary, I've been recording a bunch of KSP and Planet Coaster videos, and then just going to release them in sequence while I'm away. Next week on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I'm at a conference in London, and then for the next 2 weeks after that, I'm in Spain. So obviously I'm not going to have any time to make videos there. Not that I have the capacity to anyway, because my PC is going to be at home. So I'm kind of making lots of videos in preparation for that, just so my upload schedule doesn't just disappear. Because I feel like I've always taken pride in the fact I generally have not missed. I can't remember the last time I missed a weekly upload. I think I've been uploading weekly for as long as I can really remember. I mean, I'd say probably at some point in 2016 was when I finally just said that's it, we're going to commit to the weekly upload schedule. So yeah, anyway, let me know what you think about this Planet Coaster video. Is there too much time dedicated to the building, do you think, or is this a good balance? I mean, unfortunately my actual interaction with the comment section is going to be fairly limited because I won't have like full internet or PC usage where I am when this goes live. So I mean, I'll check to make sure it's gone live and probably be able to read the first few comments, but after that it's probably me a few days before I can just, let the initial tidal wave of comments. Not that there is that many comments on these Planet Coaster videos. Like, I don't think any of them are going to hit 10,000 views. Not that the view count matters. I am making this primarily for myself because I really like this game. And also, I am acutely aware that KSP eventually is going to die, at which point my channel is likely going to just fizzle into irrelevance unless I have other topics on which to base videos on. So, there's that and that and that. I was thinking about doing some more sort of... I don't want to sound like too cancerous by saying something like this, but something more like social commentary videos, like just sort of my thoughts on various things, or argument rebuttals, or response videos, and not reaction videos, but maybe something along the lines of that, something sort of more fluid and less bound to a specific medium, or things that can naturally evolve if I need it to, rather than just making Kerbal Space Program videos. I don't know. This is all things I'm just trying to think of. Any change is going to be very slow and gradual, so don't expect anything to change too dramatically for better or worse. But that's just things I'm thinking about going forward. But yeah, all that's for then. This is for now, and for the now, we're pretty much wrapping this video up. So I kind of went with the building kind of follows the same aesthetic as the track itself. Well, I guess in terms of the colour scheme and the fact that it's for the actual big roller coaster stations, I kind of wanted the actual roller coaster itself to do the speaking. I didn't really want the actual station to detract from that. It's basically an excuse for laziness. I mean, if I had the time and patience, I would be doing amazing stations, but the reason I'm not, partly because I want the length of this series to not be insane, but also just because I don't know. I wanted to kind of make this more of a showcase of roller coasters rather than a full-on sort of theme park with actual big scenery like a Disneyland or an Efteling, or even like Universal Studios might be. So, like I say, let me know your thoughts about the format for these videos. I know I've started to pretty much establish the way these are done now, but I am always open to critique of how you'd like to see Roller Coaster Tycoon, Planet Coaster videos filmed. But yeah, other than that, we can do some finishing touches and some fine tuning here and there on the building. But I guess you guys probably want to see the POV for this ride now. So I'll stop talking at this point, although we can just fast forward the lift hill because I know it's not the most enthralling thing to watch. And yeah, just sit back and enjoy. And thank you for riding on the Artemis, which obviously most of the roller coasters, at least in this park, are named after some of my SSTOs. So yes, we've got the Argus, we've got a few others coming up, and we also have the this one here, the Artemis. So that pretty much wraps up this episode. So yeah, do you prefer it when one episode just focuses on one ride, or would you rather have like the ones we've had before where it just kind of focuses on a bunch of different things? Do let me know. Here's a little overview of the park when everything's finished. So there's a few teasers here and there in the background, and obviously you can see it with all the trees that I had quite late on in the park's development. Get a nice little view of the train shooting above the crowd. But on screen now on the left is the previous episode. On the right is the next episode, and down in the description you're going to get a link to the full playlist. And other than that, thank you for watching, have a good day, and yes, now listen to me awkwardly struggle to fill the rest of the time in this video, because I thought it was going to end a lot sooner than it